With the final farewell, Jiang Tan's body turns into countless pure white petals drifting up into the sky. Time flows again and the crowd reacts too late, forced to watch as the figure fades away into the sky.
什么情况?
Obviously, no one is able to make sense of the sudden sight in front of us. I just stand frozen in place, allowing that conversation to remain a temporary secret. Even though we don't count this, it has been a crazy show, first fabricated by Qinchu herself, and then ended in a strange fashion. Moonlight streams down from above, illuminating the bloodstains in the magnificent hall, leaving no trace of Jiang Tan, as if she has never existed. Only Qinchu's figure, corpse, lay on the long steps, and miraculously, the last cloak the Maiden draped over her does not disappear. The Maiden. Everything seems to have settled, but everyone's expressions say otherwise. Everyone finds it hard to accept the abrupt end of this exposition.
我不敢信，清楚，就这么死了，太便宜他了。
She truly has not repaid the initial cost, and that is Jiang Tan's selfish desire up to this very day. I fall silent for a moment. And among everyone here, there are clearly others too, avengers whose time has likewise been halted, unable to come to terms with its final conclusion.
不许死！江潭，你停下，不许让他死！停下！
She keeps talking tough in a disordered way, but his strength is already gone. If Xing Zhou were not supporting him as a waste, he would have already fallen to the floor.
可以了，小池，他已经死了。
His last held breath is exhaled at last, and Liu Shi collapses into complete weakness. The bleeding from his abdominal injury gradually decreases, but it is not because he is getting better. Xing Zhou eases him down to the ground along the momentum. Liu Shi keeps his head lowered, slowly shifting his limbs, forcing himself to prop up his knees before gently resting his head. The wounds make him feel cold one moment and scorching the next.
为什么我杀不了他？为什么我杀不了他？我想杀了他，杀了他，杀了他。
So Qi will never get over with it, but Leilani, forced to rescue other people, has gotten over with it. That's the difference.
小池，我没错，我就是应该这么做，就是应该爬到地狱也要杀了他。报应就找我呀！六池，错。 没人教过我没学会，对不起。
Lucius' hand stalls a short distance from the man in front of him.
你受伤了，他们会给你包扎吗？我只会缝合，现在也没力气。
我会。
好，
叫伯伯。
神圣伯伯，对不起。 你还有力气吗？会带星洲哥哥走吗？会的吧。
你在讨好我？
只要你们有人一起出去，说什么都行。
Liu Zhi puts one end of the blood-stained scalpel into Xing Zhou's hand, still burying his head.
我是柳叶刀，星洲哥哥，我会变成你在会上的一行字吗？不是你的 Red 的也行。
Even if it's not your meeting record yours, Red is fine too.
不抬头看看，到现在为止，你还一眼都没看过呢。这么不喜欢？
没有，有，不知道为什么。快走吧，这里晦气死了。我想一个人待会儿。
好吧，那我以后再教你。发现人质和绑匪，优先确认人质安全。绑匪致命伤，也没有生命体征。人质呢？还活着吗？发现人质，准备确认安全。
别过来！
小弟弟，别害怕，我是警察，这是我的工作证。你叫什么名字？
我爸妈呢？
没关系，我会送你回家，或者回警局吃点好吃的。
警局里能有什么好吃的？
有啊，有师傅的泡面。
吃。
好，小池，我叫邢舟，刑法的刑，逆水行舟的舟。你安全了，我带你出去。
Well, I'm a bit under my emotions. Just a few more explanations. So, in Chinese, his Xing means 是. It means love, but it also means it means punishment. Like the penal code. Compared with civil code, etc. So it actually means the penal part of the code, and also when you have any penalties to the convicted criminals. The two things. And Zhou means boat. Yeah, sure, it's both that can sail upstream. Yeah, but you don't have a perfect translation here.
行舟哥哥，你在看什么？
没什么。
那我走了。
哎，等一下，那个第一次带小孩，刚刚在查攻略。
啊？
小池，你要学会控制情绪。给你这个。
书？是要我看吗？
不，这是我很喜欢的一本书，爷爷留给我的遗物。你替我拿着，情绪再坏时也要记得别弄坏它，这是给你的任务。
行舟哥哥，你回来了。最近怎么都这么晚？石手伯伯还来找你了。
啊，你开门了吗？
没，不想开。
小池，你是不是？
啊？行舟哥哥，你说什么？
小池，我会走特殊流程收养你，以后我就是你的亲哥哥，你不用再去在意你不喜欢的那个家，很多事我都可以慢慢教你，别做坏事，小池。
再说吧，快走。 走了吗？走了吧，来人子，来人魔。我们地狱界。
No one speaks. The boy at his feet has gone completely still. The clock tower stands unlit, deep into the night, and only the moonlight hears it. Xing Zhou still grips the heavy blade as if it is carved into his very bones, his motions of wiping away the blood, practiced and effortless. He remembers being told that it takes 21 days to build a habit. Xing Zhou counts in his mind how many such 21 days have already become routine to him. Mamoru, wearing a blood ruby robe, steps forward a few paces, wanting to take the blade. The hand in heavy armor remains motionless.
给我。
师父，这上面沾过很多人的血，又溅到我身上。虽然非我本愿，但当时之所以会带上它，可能也是因为方便行动。我该赎罪，我想好好背负他们。
你也说了，那非你本愿。
只有武器不会有负罪感，但脱离了控制后，现在的我恐怕一生都睡不好觉吧。
As if remembering something, Mamoru lowers his eyes. Xing Zhou stands at attention. He now clearly looks taller than Qinchu. Mamoru, and his voice has changed somewhat, but he remains as humble as before.
对不起，师父，擅自行动给警局和你添了很多麻烦，甚至。
Xing Zhou's gaze lingers on Mamoru's abdomen. He can still clearly recall the sensation of the blade cutting through flesh.
放心吧，死不了。我不是好好的。
师父，我有很多事记不清了。
Yeah, he transfers his memory to Yue Chongshan.
希望您收到时不要太惊讶，也请帮我转告大家，能和中央警局和 RAI 的每个人共事，都是我的荣幸。
也是我们的荣幸。
还有。
He looks up. The vast top floor is in disarray, and there are quite a few people in the room. Although he doesn't recognize anyone except Mamoru, they are the members who participated in this operation, their teammates. He suddenly doesn't know what else to say. After thinking a while, he pulls out an afternoon of free time from his scattered and blurry memories.
我是海林庄警院1年级新生，您在学校很出名，很多案例都被当作教学范本。没想到您会是和训的教官。
我很庆幸自己在9名基地和师父您说上话。
虽然我们都没有穿队服，但是
Mamoru stands in front of Xing Zhou with his hands behind his back and his feet shoulder-width apart in a standard posture.
邢州警官，
在。
邢州警官，作为海林中央警局杰出警员，过往履历优秀。自特殊事件处理小队成立初期加入至今，多次出色完成高难度任务，并在针对不良组织出事间的攻坚任务中做出突出贡献。海林中央警局感谢你的付出，你的最后一次任务结束了，恭喜，可以收队了。
谢谢师父。
I don't know if these police women characters came from their Gujian series, but these are freakingly well-written characters. Mamoru, obviously. Scarlet. His bros, Yue Chongshan, Yuze, Jin Shaoyan, there are 4 of them from the Grey Line. And now this guy, Ding Yuanqing, Cyrus, incredible characters, well-written characters, well-written scenes. They certainly know how it works in the setting like this. The golden pink flames flare up again. The secondary mutation brings an abnormal temperature and the smell of burning pine wood. The fire expands with pinpoint accuracy, bypassing us and Qinchu's body, or showing as much restraint towards the building as possible. This night, many lives come to a silent end. No bells toll, no dawn arrives, only the flames linger for a brief moment at the end. Okay, so after yet another farewell scene, Xing Zhou is gone. Many stories have wrapped up in this chapter.
走吧，把秦楚的遗体也搬出去。
Before leaving, Mamoru walks beside me, rests right in the last second before the fire dies down. He takes another look. Here, you must eradicate all hesitation. Here, every trace of cowardice dies immediately. The restriction preventing entry and exit from the clock tower vanished with the owner's death, and everyone pushes open the door, suddenly emerging from the night events and being surrounded by slightly noisy human voices again. Everyone feels a sense of disorientation as returning to the real world. Tong is waiting at the entrance of the clock tower, and beside him stands a team of quite conspicuous unfamiliar uniforms. As they prepare, they immediately take Qinchu's remains after everyone comes out and drive away, like an insignificant interlude. Boreas has no time to pay attention to these things at the moment. He takes out his communicator.
圆雀，
Boreas has actually seen the familiar figure in the crowd at first glance, but subconsciously denies the possibility of the person he is thinking of appearing here. Skylar struggles to push through the crowd, first greeting the group, before turning his gaze to his brother.
你怎么过来？自己来的？
Boreas' voice is quiet, stripped of this usual rising cadence. Skylar gives him a quick once-over to confirm he's not hurt, before lifting her chin in annoyance.
思阳哥不是生病不舒服吗？我就自己来了。你果然偷偷和监督商量了什么事，还弄得一身脏兮兮的。哎，你干嘛？
Graduation. Before Skylar can finish her long speech to cover up what is between the lines, she is suddenly embraced. Under the remaining moonlight, a dust-scented embrace suddenly feels like it is dragging one back into the past. Narrow lanes, a cramped courtyard, and a small, unspacious hall.
啊，言语，你说是？
Unable to see her older brother's expression, the girl looks at the moon in the sky with a troubled gaze, wondering if this counts as Estelle fulfilling another one of her small wishes. Though the time seems to have been completely off. While she's still thinking, familiar people are already drawing near. Skylar gives up hesitation, reaches out and slaps the back of her brother's neck with a loud smack, showing no tenderness whatsoever.
就说了，你以前肯定偷偷骂过我。
I told you, you must have secretly cursed me before.
小时候不懂事，嫉妒过你，也偷偷羡慕过。
你现在也没多大，还不是在挨社会的毒打，不然经常爬顶楼做什么？
Why would you keep ending up on yourselves?
这个你也知道？
你不会真的把我当笨蛋糊弄吧？
这么不配合我的道歉？
对啊，不想配合你演温情。为了惩罚你，我选择不接受。你好好表现吧。
All the emotions that had been falling and dispersing finally come to rest on the ground. Boreas stands upright, looking at his little sister, who still has not grown much after all these years, and this time his eyes genuinely soften into a smile.
是，公主殿下，谢谢。
Boreas doesn't know what he is thanking for, perhaps, just for the fact that they share the same blood.
回家，再不回去，白天上课就要迟到了。
我就多余来找你。监督，我们先走了。
I walk to the pedestrian viewing platform near the square, and the others, with me, begin their respective reporting procedures. I wave goodbye to the two as they leave and stand in place and look up.
结束了。
Yes, it's over. Even if I'm reluctant to admit it, this unnoticed expedition that began in the dead of night has already quietly concluded. The blaze, sparked by an Echomancer's ability, serves no further chaos. It only fades away after completing its task, taking nothing extra and leaving nothing behind. In my mind, I am still at the top of the clock tower with its sidewalk completely destroyed, but in front of me is already a square that feels almost lightly bustling. I reach out my hand. The rain stops. The rain has stopped at some point without me noticing. Even though Ding Yuanqing is extremely unwilling, he is still put into a seated vehicle while everyone is escorted by Tianru for medical treatment.
我没事，不用。疼！哎呀，天，你快轻点儿！
把你嘴给我闭上。小田，送他去医院。
好。
不知道你们身份现在方不方便，不如暂时送去有熊。虽不是医院，但设施也算完善，我这就联系医生。
那更好，一切麻烦事儿等天亮了再说。
Tianruo does not even have time to inquire further about Mamoru before being ordered on the spot to leave with the wounded. Lan Xiang, urged by Mars' silent gaze, "Got this gun right here, but not in Boreas?" It's also forcibly escorted to Shilin in the trees for inspection, looking impatient but unable to resist. I stand quietly behind the crowd, watching.
他们早就串通好了。
I look at the header of the envelope in his hand. Red of Highly Blue, Xing Zhou, special attention file.
魁主大人说的对，不同路，何谈救？是我太自大了。
Between us lies a golden pink fire that is still not fully extinguished.
说到底，我也好，执行官小先生也好，石手警官也好，有本领的就自己踏出条路，没本领的就选一条有人走过的。出世间已经陨落，接下来就轮到我们各自的牌局了。
我选好了，
倒是很快。
本来选择就不多，只能遵循本心了。
That's a quick change of scenery. I do not know how long it has been. Someone greets me in between, yet I remain on the viewing platform without moving. The bell tolls much earlier than scheduled, but it doesn't seem to cause any dissatisfaction. As the first bell tolls, scattered people around break into cheers, and Hailin, as always, is both peaceful and noisy. But I probably can't hear it at the company. At this hour, there are no sounds of police cars or fire trucks. If we step back, inside now will it still be the same as before? Will that hollow throne still be there?
会，我来帮你证明，都是真的。你是真的，我们经历的一切也是真的。
My hand feels as if it is being held, and the communicator in my pocket is still as silent as it was throughout the night. Even if I can make a call now, it probably would not go through. Sure, I feel like I've done a lot, but there's still so much I haven't done. The feeling of being held tightly in my hand becomes even more real. The burden of the mission feels too heavy and the scope too vast. Hesitantly, I take out that metal card from my pocket, its pattern seeming to have faded slightly. Shell, was the location for the seed building chosen by Professor Xu?
对，怎么了？忽然说这个？
Do you know? 1101 corresponds to 13 binary.
什么？
It feels a bit too coincidental. I'm the 13th seed,